Hey, I'm back. This particular vlog is kind of focused around something that I did not think would have as much of an effect on me as it did. And it's a bit of a downer, so if you want a more upbeat kind of thing, then I'm sorry. But I feel like I kind of have to share this experience with you guys just because of how impactful it was on me. It's a bit of a tough one. Luckily, the about 1 hour-ish drive to our destination on this particular day was about an hour, and it felt like 5 minutes just because of how amazing the drive was. It was the most scenic thing I've ever seen in my entire life, and I filmed most of that. So here's that. I know, right? Germany is beautiful. But as amazing as the drive was to our destination, it only really served as a really stark contrast to what our destination actually was, which is in fact Flossenbürg. For those of you who don't know, Flossenbürg is a small town about an hour's drive out of Weiden, where we were staying. And along with being a small town with even smaller, really terrifying roads, it's perhaps most famous for having been the location of a concentration camp that was responsible for the deaths of at least 30,000 people, and the suffering, pure human suffering on an unimaginable scale of countless others. And it all impacted me a heck of a lot more than I ever thought it would. See, anyone who knows me in real life knows that I'm not really someone who gets down about stuff easily. Having lived in South Africa my whole life, South Africa has one of the most brutal histories in the world, and I've also endured a lot of tragedy during my normal life, and I feel like that's kind of desensitized me to a lot of stuff over the years. So when I heard we were actually going to a concentration camp museum thing, I wasn't really that interested and didn't think it would bother me at all, just because these kinds of things usually don't. It's really messed up that it doesn't normally, but I really thought it was just going to be kind of boring. I'm not the biggest fan of history in general, so I just thought it was gonna, be boring. But it wasn't boring. In fact, it was kind of eye-opening and heart-wrenching. When we first got there, I was most excited about just getting out of the car and stretching my legs a bit. And the first thing we really saw was a pretty huge building. And I was told that it was actually the HQ of the Nazi officers that were actually running the camp. That's where they would do most of their business. So I took a quick photo of that, and all happy-go-lucky, touristy kind of thing. And it was a little after that when we walked past the HQ building and onto the site where the actual prisoners were being held, that something just kind of changed. Even though I already had some idea of what happened in these camps and had a pretty good idea of just how horrible they were. And even though there was very little evidence of that left, except for explanations against plaques just telling you about all of it, nothing really prepared me for just this dreadful, eerie feeling that comes over you once you're in a place like that, somewhere where more than 30,000 people were brutally murdered, starved to death, or died from beatings, or I can't even, like the feeling that comes over you just being in a place like that. I had never experienced that before, and it's not the first site of tragedy that I've visited in my life. There are places in South Africa where you can go where a lot of people had died for various reasons, and I had never felt this way in my entire life. It's just this feeling of sadness, of regret, of guiltiness. Even though I was in no way a part of it, I felt guilty for being a human being that could have been part of this, a human being that could have been responsible for this. I don't even know how to describe it any more than that. It honestly was less about seeing the sights of where things transpired, like where the prisoners had to stand for hours and hours in blistering sun or extreme cold for hours on end, watching their fellow prisoners and friends being murdered right in front of them, being hung up. Like, the pictures and descriptions of those things weren't really as impactful to me as just the general feeling surrounding the entire place. And I was honestly so blown away by that feeling. I wish I could describe it better, but I really can't. It's a fantastic museum. They had pictures of when the US Army like liberated the camps and stuff. They have pictures of that. They also have drawings by the prisoners themselves, like actual drawings of their experiences, and a bunch of old artifacts and stuff like that that's would be really cool to look at. And I did look at that, and it was kind of cool to see all these things go on. I say kind of cool, but also mostly just horrifying. But yeah, they have all of that stuff. So if you're interested in stuff like that, and they had all this stuff on display. They also have these little telephone things that you can use to listen to accounts of the people who were there, or just people talking about the situation arising. And they have a timeline of how the camp looked before and after, and all of that stuff. And it was cool to see all of that. Cool in a horrifying kind of way again. And you could also take a tour of the buildings that are still standing there. I think that includes the laundry and the showers and stuff like that. And you can actually go through the whole process that the new prisoners would go through, including the showers and getting their clothes and all of that stuff. But if you're wondering why I don't actually have footage of any of this, it is because it kind of felt sickening to be filming just in that location. I'm really sorry that I don't have footage of that to show you guys, but it does not feel right to film there at all. Filming is completely allowed, and I think I may have one or two photos that I might include in this vlog, but just having a camera there, just being all touristy or doing any kind of vlogging there just felt so wrong. I couldn't bring myself to do it. So I do apologize for that. But anyway, the grounds also included a really nice memorial for the people that have lost their lives there. And it's adorned with stuff from families of the people who died there that actually visited the site and left something of them there. It is extremely sad, and I don't know, it's a nice gesture for there to be a monument there, but I don't know what. Anyway, the monument kind of overlooks a valley. I think they refer to it as the Valley of Ash. You can kind of gauge why they would call it that. It is, when I was there, it was just a really beautiful valley with trees in the background and grass everywhere, and these stairs and steps all over. And yeah, it was really beautiful, which made the whole thing just hit me that much harder. Because in this valley, there's actually a little building with a big fat chimney on the one side, and it is the furnace where prisoners were forced to burn the bodies of their friends and fellow prisoners, all while the officers were trying to keep it all under wraps and telling people that, oh no, that's not what's happening there. It is absolutely insane that this is something that could have happened in human history at all, and on such a massive scale. I honestly don't have any words for just what it felt like being there. I don't regret going at all. It gave me a new perspective, and I am happy that I got to experience that, even though it made me feel just sick inside. But that experience is something that will always stick with me and will always be a reminder to me to just be better human beings in general. So I am thankful that I got to experience that and walk away with that experience. Luckily though, that's not how we ended the trip. After visiting the camp and just feeling like complete trash, our host suggested that we actually check out the Flossenbürg castle, which is less of a castle and more of just a bunch of ruins on a pretty high up hill. It was an absolute chore walking up that, and luckily I did get footage of our trek up there. And yeah, so let's end it off on a more positive note and see these ruins that range in age from around the 1100s to around the 13 or 1400s. I'm not really sure. I don't care. They look really cool. It was a really amazing experience going up there and just being up there. And yeah, check that out. And again, I am really sorry if this more serious turn to the vlog wasn't really something that you wanted to see. But I felt I needed to share it with you guys. So if you want a more happy-ish vlog for the next one, you are in luck. I think the whole Flossenbürg thing was the darkest the vlog ever got. So yeah, stick around for that. And yeah, if you like watching my content and are enjoying these vlogs. Please let me know. Hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. We just hit 100 subs and I am so happy. You guys are amazing. And for those of you who really want to support the channel, you can do so by visiting my Patreon. I'll link that down below. And yeah, I don't know how to end this off, except thank you for 100 subs. It's crazy. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.